In this video I'll be showing you how to do a mixed media collage using actual grasses, dried ones that I've pressed so that they're fairly flat, so they're stick downable, that I've collected from the Goyt Valley near Buxton where I live in Derbyshire. These ones are lovely, that shape, for what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you. Pick the dry ones for what we want to do. They press easier, less juices come out, but it depends what you want them for. And then I just want to get some ferns, and again I'm going to go for the little pretty ones. The shapes are good. So I have a piece of stretched watercolour paper, and it's pretty heavy because I want it to be able to take the tension of when all these things are stuck on. And then I do a very light spray of diluted acrylic. So I've used acrylic ink diluted and put it into a spray, and I've just used a spray that I had, you know, so I can just use it. So beginning, I just do some ghost type imagery. So I've painted it with thin acrylics, with diluted acrylics. And then I'm just gonna put this spray over the top, and then when I remove it, there should be lovely ghosts of the grasses left underneath, and that's enough. I don't need too much. Not all of those have worked. I'll just show you because you can get this really nice. So I'm just going to show you with a darker colour on top, if I can find one. Try this blue. So they're just acrylic spray paints. So I can stick over this, I can acrylic paint on top of this, and you get these lovely ghost-like imagery underneath from where you've left these. And you have to remember, if you put it on again and spray it, you'll obliterate what you have underneath, so try not to do that. And these will probably get lost, I'm not too worried about it. And I can actually take this down so it's not too dark. I can use these to stick on once this is dried, as well as having the gorgeous imagery behind it. So you have these various different layers. You can also put a lighter colour on top, because I think that's gone a bit too dark for what I want. So I've just put a bit of white, and I like the way it splashes. Oops. And again, you can just build it up, so a light green as well. Yeah, so you just get these various sort of touches of colour is what I'm after. And it's quite interesting to see how it all goes together in the end. Not enough, but it's interesting enough. The thing I like is that when the paint seeps to the edges, and that's not what's happening here. But as you can imagine, if you start putting these on top, you then really add interest, and you've got an interesting background, which is going to get even more interesting as you go through the process and keep painting and keep adding. So now you start putting on your composition and how you want it, and you can spray these so that they're darker. I've pressed these in a book. I rolled them out in a rolling pin first, pressed them in a book so they're quite flat. So the idea was that they were easier to use if they were pressed. And that goldy colour on top of the blue is lovely, and the bits of seed and things that you get left behind don't matter. I found that Right, so I'm going to try and go for something like that. I love the goldy colour on the greens, and I really like some of them green, although you don't have to, you know, they look gorgeous gold as well on top with the natural colour of the grasses. I found that the gloss medium works really well, so I literally splurb it all over the place. Get a glue brush and work it into everything and behind everything, and then at the end there's another trick to it all, but it does take a time. And also you can use the tissue papers. I've glued things down with tissue papers, holding them down before. I've got some more of these little seed heads, so I could stick some more of them down, and the idea was to flatten them all first so that they sit easier and get your glue behind everything. I only put the glue on after I'd put the pieces on because I didn't want to mess around with the composition too much with you lot looking. I mean, it's easier if you see it like this. Right, and this, you know, you can arrange them nicely, make them curl over. Okay, I'm just going to see if I can get some more in underneath this slot. The gloss medium I found was stickier than the matte medium. I wanted a few extra seed heads just on there. And then I got this tissue paper from Jackson's. One side's supposed to be waxed paper, and I found that if you went like this and really pressed it all down, you could get it to stick down flat. So, and you also sort of work all the glue into it more. And I don't leave the tissue paper on, I then take it off. But even the really difficult ones to stick down sort of go down. And if I've lost a little seed up there. And you almost sort of wait until it's nice and dry. You see, look, if you go for it, it becomes translucent in any case, but I don't want the layer of tissue over. I mean, it will go really, really flat, and you can ease out all the bubbles, but I still don't want that really. I wanted it so that you can really see the textures of it when it's dry. Because look, if you lift it off, you can see it sticks, it stays down, and there's a point when it's still really sticky. You know, when it's drying and it's sticky and it'll stick down better, and you have to sort of almost have to wait for that. But obviously not let the paper dry onto the image. So we can leave that for a while. You wait until the glue is just slightly, you know, actually tacky rather than still liquid, and you can get it to stick down then. So I'm going to leave that for a bit and let it dry. But I also wanted to show you that I'd done this, which was 2 pieces of tissue paper. And again, you put the acrylic mediums on, and it makes the tissue papers very translucent. But, and you do, what happens with this is you obviously get this fantastic translucency where you can really see the imagery. But you do lose some of the textures by having it behind a layer. I thought you could cut it out, try it that way, and then stick it down, because you've still got the sort of, it's all contained. It does help, but I still far prefer it when it just goes straight down. And they are really lovely for scrapbooking. And you could go to town with it. That one's not so translucent on that side because it hasn't got the layer of glue on this side. Let's see what happens if I put... So I'll try sticking that onto something and see what it looks like, but I think I far prefer it when you can stick it straight down onto the paper, if you can. So you can't really see it. There, you see, that's what it's like on a piece of white paper. You can see it. It just doesn't have the sort of textures if you don't put them between the tissues. But they are nice. And they certainly would work, wouldn't they? For some things. But you see, that's the finished results. That's the sort of thing I want. If you can see those textures, that's the finished result that I want. So it's pretty sticky now. I mean, I haven't waited very long. It's only been about 5 minutes. Some of them stick down better than others. And you just carefully peel it back. And you can see it stays stuck down, which is absolutely a miracle. And these ones, which are more stubborn, you can actually put a bit more glue on it and then just get tissue papers to stick it down. You can see these are lifting at the bottom because it's where they're not. I mean, you could put something heavy on the bottom there. I want all of these down, and the bits that don't want to go down, you can break them off and put them in a position where they're happier, or you just wait until the whole thing is dry enough for the glue to work. And then if you want to, you can get tissue paper and stick it down over the bottom somehow, because in fact you can paint this over. That's because my hands are wet, sticky. So it's actually sticking down. I've got some more of that waxed paper, and I'm using that to help me stick it down. And if it doesn't particularly go, doesn't want to go, just help it a bit. It's a paintbrush with glue on it. And these are obviously not going to go down. So you can get the ones that are happier, you know, going down, that'll lie flatter. Greaseproof paper again. And just wait until it's happy enough to go down. And anything like this, you can again wait till it's tacky and put it down after. Just stick it down as that bit extra. And it would actually go in there. And you can see it is already, because everything's getting tacky, it's happier to stick down. And any dollops or too much medium, wipe away. You see, look, you can really work even this waxed paper into it so you see the textures. And then I bet you could just rip around the edges of it somehow. And that would hold those down. But whether you lose too much of the textures and things, you know, whether you want that in there or not, I don't know. Well, it's all experimental. See what happens. And see what suits you, because as I say, it's not the easiest thing. I want to just rip that off from, but yeah, but keeping most of the other textures. You see there's one lifted, I want those down. I love those filaments on that thing, and I'm probably lifting it from the wrong way. If I lifted it from that way, you might have more of a chance of it staying down. You can just get the hairdryer on as well. Any bits like the end bits are best removed because they stop it from sitting down properly. And you can fix that down with a piece of tissue paper, and then you can actually get the hairdryer and hold these down like so. But most of it goes down really easily and really nicely. And if it doesn't work, don't use it. Just use something else. Once you've finished sort of sticking it down with a hairdryer, or if you're more patient, but the hairdryer does seem to really work, sort of roll it over, it's all nice and flat, and there you've got your little image. And if you want to take off the glossy finish of the glue, you can put on a mat, and you can go in with other colours if you want to, like just for fun, just see what else you can do with it. I just want a bit of green in there, I think, but it doesn't need it. I'm just showing you that you can. So this is, so you can just add colour to the bits like so. Because it's all acrylic, isn't it? What we've used is acrylic, so you can just mess a bit more if you want to. And then let it dry. And do another one. So, again, I've also decided I was going to do it to these sizes. So there you go, that's what it's going to look like in a mount, which is really attractive. I quite fancy a few more bits of these lovely filaments of grass, because they're such elegant forms, aren't they? I'm just going to bung in a few more of them, I think. And if you want to just make sure the bottoms stay in, you can always put a bit of tissue paper at the bottom. Because that doesn't seem to matter, doesn't seem to affect it. And just push it down with your last bits. So long as your fingers aren't too sticky at this point, because then they just lift it back off again. Okay. So now you end up with something like that. I've even done it with sort of leaves like so, just for, and did you see the fern? So again, stick that down, and then get enough so that that's definitely covered. stick that down. They're lovely. And they really stick down when you use the waxed paper. Just covering a little bit with glue again, with this acrylic medium. It's absolutely lovely. I want less of those this time, but I quite like it when they sort of splash off as well, splatter about the place. Yeah, like so. And they sort of, again, just make sure they're all going to go down. And if you move off the seeds, because the seeds are not stuck on there. So it's just a question of using your brains about how you want to get it to go down. Like that one probably isn't going to sit down too well. You can always take it off and put it further down like so, if it wants to go in there. You can put a few little seed heads onto it, like so. That's good fun. And then that can go down like so. Just make sure you've got enough glue on everything. Make sure that's in place. And then again, it's putting in these grasses and things. And whatever else you feel like it needs. And again, it's up to you, isn't it? There was these lovely grasses like this. Do you just cover the bottom with like that? I could try it, quite like that. Or is that overdoing it? Wax, get your wax paper again. Just ease it all down. I'm just going to cut it off at this point, because otherwise it will just pull up as I work with it. You know, it's too much of a strain on that piece. You'll see what I mean when you do it yourself. Right, I want to make sure that that's got enough glue underneath it there as well. Do the same to this, although I should really put more grasses on at this point first. Just see what happens. Right, take this one off. Yeah, that's lovely. They will stay down. And what doesn't, you just ease in afterwards or take off. Yeah, there's some that just aren't going to go down. But that might have been just that bit too much. But whatever doesn't stay on, I'll just remove. Okay, like that one just disappearing off into the sidelines. And again, I probably took that off too early. If I'd left my greaseproof paper, no, my waxed paper on there just a bit longer, it might have had a chance to settle into the glue. For the glue to go tacky, so that the bits stick down, but you're still able to lift off this waxed paper. I'm going to just get a couple of things to go in there because I want a few more bits of extras. Probably don't have enough glue underneath that. But all those will go down when I roll it out. And I just want some of these. So bring that up because I want that. So we can just bung in a bit more glue, acrylic medium. Make sure it's underneath them all so it does have a chance to stick down. That's a nice one, so I want that in there. And these ones didn't have any paint on them. And some gentler ones. If I put that over there, it'll help stick those down. Oh, that looks nice actually going right over it. And that's a really nice piece. So let's, in fact I want that underneath that one now. So there. I want it, where do I want that? There. Lift this off before it glues too much, and you can see, look, it's pulling off these pieces, which is a bit of a shame, but as long as enough stay on there, yeah, that's enough. What else do I liked this? See, there's a lovely grass actual leaf there. I wanted that on there. Looks like I'm going to have to get rid of that because it's just not staying. That'll go in because it's flexible and absorbent and soft. Whew. I would really like some more of those little leafy bits. Let's see if I've got any. But they're lovely and organic. Right, that's all stuck down, and you just get your paper again. Give it a good rub so it all stays down. All off so it stays down again. And then with the hairdryer, let's roll it all over. Just really want those stuck down too. I think I'll put a piece of tissue paper across the bottom of this lot again, to hold it all up down, because it does seem to completely disappear, or near enough. And it sort of holds the bottom of the piece together, doesn't it? That over there a bit, like so, and that just coming up there. Doesn't feel like there's enough glue in there. Right, let's try again. you'll feel at a certain point the glue goes really tatty and they just stick down. Okay, that's 2 done. I just hope I can cut them both out, which I don't think I can. I mean, I might have to frame them up together. Maybe that might be quite nice in a A3 mount, because that one would be there. And then that one, I want those, that's so nice, isn't it? Go up there, or you can go down there. They're very sweet, aren't they? Yay for acrylic mediums. To remove the piece, I just get a sharp knife and you get underneath, whoops, I shouldn't have done that, underneath the paper. So you have to find the edge of the paper and you have to keep your hands out the way and gently go around the edge. You can cut it with a Stanley blade, but this is how I do it. Oh, I haven't got good paper on there. That is in fact cartridge paper. I might have to, because I haven't done it on good paper, I might well have to stick it onto a piece of mount board in order to keep the whole thing from buckling under the tension of its own, under its own tensions. You just run the knife all the way around. Oh no, that's all right. No, that's good. And then I will divide it in half. But you can see they come out extremely well, eh? Very pretty. I'm going to try it on a piece of board, see what that happens. So I've masked off my board. I spray painted it with my spray, very light spray of diluted acrylic ink, just in water, and I sprayed it over these and set them down to see what they would do instead of spraying aerosol on top of it to get a shadow. And it's just lovely what's happened, look. So it sort of sticks, the paint sticks to the, oh, isn't that beautiful? And then presumably you could just keep doing that. So it's, what's left behind is a beautifully intense mark of these things. I think I want 2 more like this, just because I will then put stuff on top. I mean, they will obliterate it, but I'm sure you could really do something with this. So that's going to be my next video. So remember to like and subscribe if you've enjoyed it, and if you want to see this new method next video upload. Thanks very much. I hope you enjoyed it. All the very best. Bye.